Yeah, let's go. You know us, we know you. From soul food to Whole Foods, from Crenshaw to Nobu. It's old school do's and don't do's in the spot. I wrote the recipe down, wrist deep in the pot. Yeah, puff it and pass it. Chill Pinot Grigio in the glass. Cheese and crackers, pair up is classic. Learn from the masters, you just gotta listen. The room too hot, then move from out the kitchen. A new spot, ain't no food court. Age to prime, homie, results take time. Life is too short for bad eating, for bad tippers, for bad service, for bad liquor. I need it all fresh. Follow directions, I explain it on the back. A little bit of this, tablespoon of that, yeah. Just watch the mix, I done made this here from scratch. It ain't about where you from, they don't love you where you at. Think about it. Yeah. Food for thought, what they talking about? K&E, that's the boss, what you talking about? Yeah, Lamert Park, eating good, what we talking about? Yeah, a lot to talk about.
You are listening to, watching, vibing out to Food for Thought with Karen and Ernest. And once again, I'm the Ernest.
I'm the Karen.
Yes, in case there was any question or any confusion, we wanted to make sure that everybody knew what the deal was. Kayla,
You're hilarious.
I'm pretty darn funny. Yes, thank you. Funny looking. Yes, that is.
No. You came in here so fresh and so clean, like, oh, I'm just walking. You came in like talent today. I was telling our guests, I was like, he's never this late. He just came in like, what? Did you do this? Did you do that? Well, we're good.
Like, hey, if that's the case, we gonna make it.
I loved it, though.
We gonna make it rock and
I'm
roll.
not being critical. Like, it was cool. It was just like,
yes.
If we had like, what do they call it? What do they call it?
I don't know.
If we had BTS going,
oh yeah,
it would have been so good.
Well, it's so funny. I was watching. I happened to be watching an episode of And Just Like That, which was the continuation of the Sex and the City thing, and it was just happened to be on TV, so I don't actually watch the show.
Understood.
But in this episode, they were talking about talent and people in Hollywood, and they're like, they're at the movie premieres, and their first thing they say as soon as they're off camera is, how long do I have to be here? And they're like, you're getting paid $60,000 to be here. So I was on my talent tip tonight.
Clearly.
So, I feel like I haven't seen you in forever. I'm kind of used to seeing you more, but, we haven't been in these streets. We haven't been doing the eating.
We have to have dinner soon. Yeah.
Oh,
we haven't.
Yeah, I think that we can make that happen.
Awesome. We're actually having dinner later tonight.
So, we're laughing and having a good time, but as I was coming in here, I was paying attention to something that has happened in the news, and we've mentioned it, but we've never really gone into it. So there is a world-class restaurant called Noma. Mm-hmm. It is like listed as one of the 50 best restaurants in the world. Mm-hmm. The executive chef has gotten all of these accolades, and they recently did a pop-up here in Los Angeles.
Right.
And we did talk about this on the show, and they did a pop-up in Los Angeles where it was $1,500 for each meal.
Right.
And at that $1,500 price point, it still sold out in like minutes. 20, 30 minutes, like if even that long.
Right.
So like the restaurant has gotten all of these accolades and all of these things. Mm-hmm. Right, and actually during pre-service, the executive chef, Rene Redzepi, announced that he'd be stepping down. And this was literally right before they were opening.
Right.
Now, Chef has had a history of being overly aggressive with his staff, assaulting his staff, and kind of this whole vibe that has been part of the culinary landscape and culture.
Yep.
And there was one ex-employee who said that he was punched in the face at one of the restaurants that he worked at.
Adrian, and he's definitely a misogynist as well.
He's definitely a misogynist. I was going to say Adrian Cheatham, who is the co-host of the Chef's Cut podcast, said that she has literally had things thrown at her face that if she didn't duck, she would have been hit in the face. And Adrian also says that this is a watershed moment for the culinary landscape, in that people have to decide that they're going to pay with their dollar.
Yeah.
Are they going to continue to support restaurants where
Understood.
these chefs have these bad
Mm-hmm,
reputations?
mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts about this, if any?
Well, I think we have to consider that the kitchen for some are still a workplace. And I know I wouldn't want to go to work if I was being berated, if someone was, potentially sexually harassing me, or if someone was throwing things at me.
Right.
Even like I'm pretty thick skinned. So if you're cursing at me but not calling me out of my name, or maybe calling me out of my name, just don't call me late for dinner. I might be good. I might be good. My thing is, why should anyone have to endure that? It's not going to make the food better.
Right.
It's not going to make the workplace energy better. So it's just kind of like, come on, guy. And this is when I knew it was serious, because you know how sometimes people can exaggerate or dramatize things. I knew it was serious when some of the former employees and or people who had worked for him were flying in from all over the country.
Right.
And really supporting the protest.
Right.
And when I think American Express pulled out and some other sponsors pulled out, it seemed like in turn he stepped down. But the other piece is, there was a woman who was interviewed, and she's not even cooking anymore. That's the thing that I think really resonated with me. Like, someone could have that much power that now someone else's dream may be deferred because he's being an ass.
Yeah, I read that she said that she ended up having panic attacks in the middle of the night, and like you said, she just decided, this is not the field for me.
Right.
And we have said on our show before that our background is entertainment, and entertainment has had a moment in history when kind of this whole do as I say, and like all of this toxicity.
Yeah.
But it is just interesting, and the one thing that Adrian said is that I really latched onto is, as consumers, we speak with our dollar, and the fact that nobody requested their money back, like from a consumer standpoint. Nobody was like, I'm not coming, or any of that stuff.
I saw people
Look,
dressed to the nines
it was
walking up
$1,500.
like...
I might have to be like, look, I don't agree, but the way this bill is set up,
I know, it's horrible.
so that
No,
is
it's just
horrible. So it is just something that I kind of wanted to find out your thoughts on.
Yeah,
on that
and to
culture
be
in
honest,
general.
what comes up for me is, in my entertainment days, I literally would interview with people and then say, "Are you a yeller?" Because if they said
Right.
yes, I'm like,
Like,
either you can't yell at me or this isn't the job for me.
This isn't the job
I
for
don't
me.
need to be yelled at. My father didn't yell at me, so
Yeah, so
sorry.
you're not gonna be that person.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely. And then another thing that real quickly I wanted to touch on is, we had on a couple episodes, Chef Keith Corbin,
Yep.
our third co-host, as he says.
Yep.
He's still on America's Culinary Cup, and I say still because he's been doing his thing.
Right.
But this current week, he
Yeah.
he had to pull out all the stops.
But he was very clear that he wasn't skilled in this particular challenge, which what is it called?
gastronomy.
Yeah. And so I appreciated him, like I said, he's being himself, and I appreciated him just being transparent and talking through it, but just also rising to the challenge.
Yeah.
And so it was very cool to watch. But then the other thing was, the chef that did go home was Beverly Kim.
Right.
And again, as we talked offline, like, she was the one that all the other chefs were like, she's going to get it.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
And and it's getting to a point on the show where you hate to see anybody go home. But,
I agree.
like, we definitely still want to make sure that we support and shout out Chef Keith Corbin,
Yeah.
because, he is the friend that we know that loves to be able to make it happen. And and he was very clear. Look, I'm not that gastronomy person. I'm not
Right.
doing this
Right.
smoking and sous vide and all of this stuff. But one thing about Chef is he gonna put in the work. He
Well,
gonna
the
put
other
in the
thing
work.
too, yeah, Chef, absolutely. He's our favorite. The other thing too that I loved, and I love about these chefs, these final 6 or whatever, is that they were like, it's really hard to celebrate today.
Right. Right.
even though we got saved. It's really
Right.
hard to celebrate today to see her go home. And I just thought that was so lovely.
Yeah.
Especially considering the story we started with.
Right, that
So,
part.
yeah.
That part. Well, I'm really excited for our show today,
I am
and
too.
I'm excited for our guests,
Our
and
new
we're gonna make
friend.
some magic happen.
Yeah.
You are listening to, watching, vibing out to Food for Thought with Karen and Ernest.
When we come forward, more savory sounds from the culinary world. You're listening to Food for Thought with Karen and Ernest. Delectable recipes, dining do's and don'ts, fascinating culinary insights, celebrity chefs, delicious discussions. You're inside Food for Thought with Karen and Ernest.
You are listening to, watching, vibing out to Food for Thought with Karen and Ernest, and I'm really excited about our guest tonight. It's
Are
gonna
you?
be yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm always excited, but I'm particularly excited because
glad to.
our guest is a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's
but he also
super
comes
fun.
bearing gifts, which
Yeah.
I'm loving.
But I just thought I should mention that I'm going to be his favorite because I met him first.
Oh, well, yes.
You know how I commandeer people
You-
and things.
You know what? The show is Food for Thought with Karen and Ernest, and I'm willing to share, and you should share, and we should all share.
I'm kidding.
So, our guest this evening or this afternoon is Eddie Zamora.
Yes.
He's also known as the Yum Yum Foodie,
Mhm.
and he is the co-host of Countdown to Delicious.
Mhm.
He is the co-host of the Foodie Minute.
Mhm.
He is an ambassador, and this is why I really am loving
Of
him.
course.
He's an ambassador for Bacardi. So,
Mhm.
and when I said he comes
You
bearing
love the
gifts,
rum.
I'm a rum guy,
Yep,
and he comes
yep.
bearing gifts. Our guest this afternoon is Eddie Zamora. Eddie, thanks for being here, man.
Oh my God, thank you so much for inviting me. I ran into Karen. I was a little bit lit at this wine festival. I'm a professional.
I left my phone. I lost my phone.
Oh,
At
so
the wine
that's
event.
a professional. Like she
Just
was
drinking and
left-
drinking and was like, and people were like, "Oh my God, did you find it?" And I was like, "No, but I'm gonna keep moving."
Just like, and I'm gonna
definitely
keep drinking.
Yes, it'll be fine. Nobody wants that phone. If it had been the latest iPhone, maybe. But you know how people are.
No,
So yeah,
no. We
Yeah.
spoke about this. We're
Yeah.
Samsung people.
We
so,
are.
I mean, Android people.
Android
sorry.
people.
So
We don't
Samsung, feel
follow,
free
we
to
lead.
cut us a check because
Yeah.
we actually use your product. But
Absolutely.
Eddie, thanks for joining us. It's great to have you here. And as I said, we're going to lead off with the fact that you are an ambassador for Bacardi, and you came and you said you walked in the door and said, "Look, I brought the Bacardi 8 with me, so don't let the first taste fool you.
It's so good.
I am now going to let the first taste not fool me."
Yeah, because a lot. I mean, a lot of times, like especially when you're drinking a spirit neat, it's got to give a chance for your mouth to adjust. So the first sip is always going to be a little bit hotter. Hotter, I mean, like you taste the alcohol a little bit more. Then your palate adjusts, and then all the other fun like notes and stuff start to come out. From whatever any spirit, except vodka, because that's just not supposed to taste like anything. I'm not a vodka guy. Yeah, the better the vodka, the less it tastes like anything. That's the irony of vodka.
Tastes like water. Yeah.
So now, how? So tell us how you became a rum connoisseur. Well, I'm assuming I'm putting words in your mouth. Are you a
Obviously.
rum connoisseur? And if so, how did rum become your drink of choice?
I mean, my family's from Cuba, so therefore, yes, my family's from Cuba. I'm first generation born in the United States, and even though my parents didn't drink much, I go back to a memory. I was really lucky to have a swimming pool at my house. It's like my parents were middle class, but they saved everything they could, and they put in a pool for the kids. And it was like in the ground. It's like, oh shit. We had that above ground one, and that thing was just like everything. Every time you got in that thing, you're like, you're about to, it's gonna collapse. And I remember a time that my mom made a mojito, and I was, I don't know how old I was, and she's like, here, you could take a sip. She turned around, I drank that whole shit. And I drank it all. I drank that mojito because mojitos are delicious. You barely even taste the rum in it, mint, and it's just like such a refreshing drink. And in Miami, where I grew up, anyway. So fast forward, when I become even probably like slightly before drinking age, the stuff that they would be sneaking under the table in Thanksgiving is gonna be rum. That's just that's what Cubans would drink two things, rum and some kind of scotch. That was always the two. My parents, again, they barely drank, so we always had rum and scotch in the house. Scotch not for me, especially at that age. Now, I mean, I'll drink scotch now, but at that age, no, it's got to be sweet. Yeah. Rum is like the gateway booze. Make it sweet, It's the Joe Camel of get the kids to like it. You know, how do we get these kids hooked? Make it sweet. Put a camel on the box. But yeah, rum just has a sweeter flavor profile, and that's what I like. And it's such a big part of my culture. Yeah.
It is definite, and and there's so much that you bring up. You talk about rum being a gateway alcohol, and it's so funny because that's for Karen knows, like she's known me a long time. I didn't really start drinking until substantially later in life.
Yep.
Like, and I would have a sip, but I wouldn't start drinking until later. And I was actually doing a liquor promo with a client who said that, in essence, if I didn't drink, I couldn't stay on the account. And I was like, oh, wait, my money's about to get messed
You were
up.
like, word?
But
Tequila, please.
But I remember we were in Miami for Winter Music Conference, and we were sitting at the bar, and you talk about mojito. And so I'm talking with the bartender, and I'm having some mojitos, and the bartender is just sitting there pouring. Oh, so you guys are from LA, and like, what did bro brings you to Miami? And this is him pouring the liquor. But
yes, please.
But we were pouring with Malibu. So and when you talk about it's minty and it's fresh and it's light, and then you add Malibu, which is I was like, oh, this is nothing. I can handle this. In a period of 2 hours, I had 10 of them, and then the client was like, all right, it's time for us to go to dinner. And then as I went to stand up, I was like, oh, shiza, this is real. Like, this is definitely something. So, that's my gateway alcohol story.
That's
so
crazy.
I love that you said that.
Yeah.
So how did growing up or being Cuban and being first generation American, how did you get involved in the food scene? Is it like, how did...
By accident. I mean, I didn't know how to cook when I was younger. I was the opposite of what... the household in the Cuban household, men are not in the kitchen in general. So it never even drew it. It was like, go outside and play football. Go outside and, we played street football. We played everything outside, basketball, whatever on my street. A lot of scars on these knees from, diving for a football on the street and just getting all jacked up. Fast forward in early 2000s, one of my best friends goes to Europe and I get the opportunity to study. And he's like, hey, why don't you come and stay with me. Come for a few weeks. And I was like, okay. I want to say it was maybe like end of 2001, or pardon me. It was end of 2002. So after September 11th, people still weren't even flying as much. So the tickets were cheap. I was like, I'm going to Barcelona. And a meal that I had with my friend in Barcelona changed my life. I remember the wine I had. I remember that particular meal. That restaurant is still there. It's called La Mar de Bo. It's they made a seafood parrillada, so like a grilled seafood platter. And it was my first time tasting, I don't know, shrimp or clams from the Mediterranean, and making that distinction of like, wow, why does it taste different? Oh, the seawater, the salinity is different. It's from a different part of the world. And I had amazing wine from Ribera del Duero in Spain, and that changed my life. That was the light bulb moment.
Did you feel like it was your first real dining experience, or was it more of a premier dining experience? Because you were in Europe and they do things a little differently. They don't rush the food. They pair things, Yeah,
so I wouldn't even say it was my first premier dining experience, because in retrospect, it was a normal-ish restaurant. It just happened to be on the water, in the harbor or the bay in Barcelona, or in Puerto Olímpico. And growing up as a kid in Miami, we would go to Cuban restaurants, eat food at home. My mom was a really good cook. Or Red Lobster Chili's, TGI Fridays, Tony Roma's. Those were my fancy dinners growing up, So this was a big departure for that, for me.
And you noticed the flavors like almost immediately. Right away. You were like, why is this so different? Yeah.
When you eat a lagostino, a gamba, or any of that or merluza, which is one of the fishes from that region, you could just taste the Mediterranean, and it's different. Same way as if you go to Japan and you eat seafood there, it tastes different in the Western Pacific, But I didn't know. There's things I didn't know. Yeah.
I love that. And then, well, I can tell already, do this all day. But when we come forward, we're going to continue talking with Eddie about his food journey. You are listening to, watching, vibing out to Food for Thought with Karen and Ernest. Salud.
Salud.
When we come forward, more savory sounds from the culinary world. You're listening to Food for Thought with Karen and Ernest. delectable recipes, dining do's and don'ts, fascinating culinary insights, celebrity chefs, delicious discussions. You're inside Food for Thought with Karen and Ernest.
You are listening, watching, and vibing out to Food for Thought with Karen and Ernest. And I am sipping the Bacardi
So
8,
good.
hence the reason that I'm slurring my words.
Yeah.
And I'm only one glass in, but we're going to continue. Our guest this afternoon is Eddie Zamora. He's the co-host of the Foodie Minute. He is also the co-host of Dining Delicious, and we'll get into all of those, and then we're going to talk about your podcast. But before we came forward, we were talking a little bit about how you got into the food space. Mm-hmm. Your parents are Cuban. You went on the trip, and you ended up coming back and finding out about all of these food flavors. How did that translate into your food journey? What after that trip that you took? Like what was next on your food journey?
So I studied theater and music. My father's a musician. My mom she would have achieved the level of concert pianist, but because of where she was in Cuba and life, she was forced to leave in exile. My father didn't pick up a musical instrument until he left Cuba. They forced him to be an accountant because that's how it is. Wow. And my dad's amazing, but you don't want my dad as your accountant, So he comes to the U.S., picks up a music instrument, and his dream was to be a musician. My dad made his living as a musician for my entire childhood, and I went to performing arts school. I studied piano since I was 5 years old. I played in bands and all that world, right? And like anything, I come back from this Europe trip, and my mom, back in the day, cuts out this picture from the newspaper, and she's like, "Hey, Telemundo is looking for hosts of a new talk show." And it was like back in the day, you get in a line and you get in the audition, you do the whole thing. Long story short, I end up getting the job on this particular show, and I do 130-something episodes of live television, like a live roundtable talk show. Some aggressive topics, some more lighthearted stuff, but just young, bilingual Latinos talking. Fast forward, that show runs its course, and there's nothing happening in Miami at the time. Okay. I had to go. Unless I wanted to get pigeonholed working in Spanish television, which is not what I wanted to do at the time. Things have changed, but at that time, NBC was about in the process of purchasing or acquiring Telemundo, and that was going on. So I moved to LA, and like anybody, for the most part, as an actor who moves out here, they start working in restaurants or catering. I started working at the RIP Standard Hotel on the Sunset Strip, and that's a whole other episode of stories and ghosts and that I heard that happened to me in that place. But through friends that I met there, I got a job at a catering company that catered towards celebrities, a lot of high-end folks here in town, just, business owners and whatnot. And that was how I got kind of thrown into the fire. And a chef wouldn't show up because probably they were out doing blow and didn't come the next day. And they're like, "Eddie, put down that tray of champagne and go get to the barbecue. These steaks cost $50 a piece. Do this and this and this and don't fuck it up." And that was literally getting thrown into the fire. And I was already somebody who appreciated food. Any opportunity that I had, I didn't have a lot of money, but in my struggles, any chance I had, I was exploring and trying to learn new things. But that was the intro into cooking. And it's an art form. And I think I had an affinity towards it. Some je ne sais quoi, like some kind of intuition towards cooking. And I enjoyed it. And so on and so forth. I then, fast forward, get offered an opportunity to work as a representative for an automotive manufacturer doing car shows. And in my mind, anytime I did something, it had to be for another reason, not just that. So the car shows was like, all right, cool. I'm going to get on a microphone 20 times a day. I'm going to do presentations without a script. I'm going to learn how to engage public. I'm going to learn how to talk to people, and I looked at it like that. I didn't care even about the car job. It was more so like, how am I building my skill set? Right. But I'm traveling the world, the U.S. I'm going to, you name a city, a flyover state, I've been there. And I have so much respect for smaller towns that have incredible food, but I became the friend in the group. They're like, "Eddie, where are we going tonight? We're off at 5. Where are we going?" And I would be the one that'd be like, "Yo, I talked to the bartender here," and I asked him, I was like, where do you go on your day off? That's where they go, and that's how I built that kind of Rolodex of places to go. That was before social media. Okay. Social media pops up, and I start slowly sharing this online. And one interaction in Aspen, it sounds fancy. One interaction in Aspen, Colorado, because I'm working for this luxury car brand, and I'm sitting in a plaza in Aspen, Colorado. This is beautiful bakery, all these cookies, all this shit. It's amazing, but it's cold as hell. And Cuban people do not do well in the cold. Like it is, yeah. I'm there in like a North Face jacket. I'm freezing my ass off on a corner, and I'm with an iPad, and I'm trying to get people to test drive cars. And I see this fool roll up in like cycling gear. When I'm telling you, it's like 20, 30 degrees outside. Buddy rolls up with like the camel toe shorts, the like tight cycling gear, and I'm like, what the fuck? And he starts talking to these two really attractive women across the plaza. And I'm like, this fool thinks he's Lance Armstrong talking to these girls, blah, blah, blah. It was Lance Armstrong. So I make fun of him on Twitter. I say something benign, and it was my first Twitter account at, whatever, my little Twitter account. Put my phone away. An hour goes by, I hear a beep. I look down, my phone is blown up, and it is out of battery. He had responded to me, and it turned into this huge interaction of enthusiasts of cycling wanting to find out what bike did he have, and a light bulb went off in my head. I said, I don't know what this social media is, but there's something there, and I don't know what it is. I'm still acting, I'm auditioning, and blah, blah, blah. Through a series of auditions that the cards were turned on me in a way that I didn't anticipate. I turned into that moment from Half Baked, where I was like, fuck you, you cool, fuck you, I'm out. And I decided to build my own brand. And that's like the genesis of the Yum Yum Foodie, and I just compiled all of this information that I already had, and I was still traveling. I never had to dip into my own pocket because I was getting paid to travel, and I was able to, at the beginning stages of Instagram and social media, kind of capitalize on that authentically.
Yeah, that God orders your steps. Like you're in a position and you think that's it, or, oh, I'm just going to go to the next level of it. And it's like, no, you're gaining, like you took full advantage and you gained all this knowledge, wisdom, personality, all the things, because you knew deep down what you wanted to do. And if you perfected those things, you could just kind of write your own ticket, and write your own ticket you did. We don't mind you saying the brand that you used to.
I used to work for Lexus, yeah. And life comes full circle, because after I got a job on a TV show as a food judge on a show called Dinner Takes All, and I left this job. I finally was like, cool, I can finally say goodbye to that chapter of my life. Fast forward a couple years later, I get the opportunity to be sponsored by Lexus and get to drive the vehicles that I used to tell people about. I love that. And it blew my mind. I was at the grand unveiling in Detroit, Michigan of the LC, this luxury, the LC luxury coupe, beautiful car. And I was like, man, one day I would love to have that car. And 2 years later, I was driving that car and getting paid to drive it. And it blew my mind.
So we're speaking into existence that we have something in common with you, that we too will be sponsored by Lexus, and the esteemed Aaron Walton will be on our show soon as well. And so we love those people over there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I love that the story of Lance Armstrong is kind of the entree, and that people were saying to you, what kind of bite did he have? And let me make sure I understand this. Did they say bites, B-I-T-E-S, or B-I-K?
Writing what helmet was he? No, you name it. It was all the Tour de France following folks.
And was your conversation with him tongue in cheek?
It was beyond tongue in cheek. It was some bullshit, because now it's so hard to go back, and because this probably would have been 2010, 2011. I didn't even have Instagram. It was Twitter. Okay. And it was just something like, Lance Armstrong training really hard in Aspen, some bullshit. It was completely benign, and that evolved into. Yeah, I couldn't recreate it if I tried.
You said that you were a judge on Countdown to, what was the name?
I was a judge on a show called Dinner Takes All.
Dinner Takes All.
Yes, with Cartier Brown, my girl. I love her so much, man. She was my co-judge.
What allowed you to be, quote unquote, qualified as a judge for Dinner Takes All. And, because I really want to talk about the food journey and how we got you here in the world of food, and being the person that is, the co-host of, all of these things. So tell me about the food journey.
Or did you manifest it? Because you just seem very direct and very,
I did.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't waste a lot of time. And it's just, I'm not built that way. Like, if you ever listen to Kill the Bottle podcast, I when we have a guest, I always tell them, like, look, the only thing we don't get back in life is time. So I acknowledge people for their time. It's something that is really deep for me. But I am very sarcastic, and I find the internet is a great opportunity to be passive aggressive and f with people. So I knew this couple that was married, and these people, I won't say their names, and they are no longer married, but they used to love taking pictures of themselves and sharing it online and taking like duck lip pictures. And I said, how can I make fun of these fools? How can I do it? So I said, I gotta take a picture with duck lips, but I gotta make it food related. So I started doing duck lips pictures with coffee all over the world. And I had a hashtag called douchey duck lips coffee selfie. And I had fans that would send me theirs, and I would repost their pictures and whatever. So yeah, the story, the way that I hear it, is that Dave Noel and Cleve Keller, the creators of Chopped, are the creators of this show, Dinner Takes All, and they're looking for a judge, or judges. They had already had Cartier Brown, and Kelsey Nixon was the host. These are all folks, Food Network people, and I don't know how I end up in that conversation, but somehow a photo of me doing those duck lips pops up in front of them. And they're like, this is the sense of humor of the kind of person that we need as one of our judges. I mean, I've been blessed. I've eaten at 3 Michelin star restaurants. I've eaten at the dirtiest taco stand. And I'm not prejudiced to any of it. I just love it and come for the experience. And a 5 to 10 minute phone call with them ended up with me getting an offer to be on this show. Where, as an actor, right before I fired everybody and peaced out, I was in a process of 5 months of auditioning for a very big movie and being constantly lied to about it. And that changed everything for me. That's what shifted for me. And I said, no. I was like, I got to go feel the dreams. If you build it, they will come. I got to build it. Yeah.
That's inspiration to people who are listening, because I'm inspired by you. I'm like, okay, all that stuff you've been trying to be passive aggressive, knock it off and be aggressive. This one is aggressive, like charmingly aggressive, right? So I got to match his energy.
That feels like an oxymoron. Charmingly aggressive.
No, that means it's nice.
Right. I was going to say,
a hat and a shirt. Yeah, a t-shirt and a hat. My question, and this is out of left field. My question is, I want to know, we still want to hear about the food journey, but I'm going to interject something. I want to know, did you woo your wife with food when you met her? Like,
I wooed her with taking her out to good places.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wooed her with, like, because I barely knew how to cook. I mean, I could fry an egg. I could, and also not knowing at that time the distinction of going to the grocery store and being able to find like Nyman Ranch Farms or one of these places that you can find like a really good. I don't know what that was. So it was kind of that. Okay. And I think it was more so like her and I met on a TV show that I used to host called Chat, and she was a dancer on a music video show called The Roof, and I was one of the co-hosts of this talk show. And at like 9:59 p.m., the cameras would turn from the music show, and in the studio like this, the other side was my set. Okay. And we met and we reconnected later after the show. We never dated during that time, but yeah. Yeah, and now it's like she's my partner. She wouldn't eat octopus. Now she's like the first one wanting to order it, which I'm like, I'm a proud, yeah.
So how do we go from I could barely cook an egg to being a co-host of like Countdown to Delicious and the Foodie Minute? Like, how does that transition? Because it sounds like there's a moment in time where you go from being somebody who had a passing interest in food to being somebody who is very involved in food, and food is a part of their life. How does that transition end up happening?
I think two ways. My grandfather had Alzheimer's, and I remember towards the end of his life, his memories that he still had were food, drink, experiences. Food to me is an experience, It's a capsule. It's a time capsule, like a bottle of wine is. It's that weather, that year, that piece of land. So that's where that kind of derived from. And then learning to cook was also being cheap and going to Morton's and be like, well, I don't want to pay $80 for a steak. I'm going to learn how to make this myself. I'm going to recreate this. And that was kind of the genesis of that. And then just going and experiencing, going to really good restaurants, having the opportunity of being like, oh, shoot, I know why this costs why it costs now. I get it. I get the technique now. I want to learn how to do this. And like anything now, technology is like a sous vide now, you can get it for under $100. Sous vide used to be thousands of dollars. Now you can get a sous vide and learn how to do some of that stuff at home. So it was really, I think, a combination of all the things. So I wouldn't be able to recreate it if I tried. But I'm just a hardworking person. So whatever I am going to do, I'm going to work hard at. And once I saw that opportunity to make money doing it, and the passion was already there, and it's artistic, it's creative, I'm going to be the best version of me doing that.
Are you self-taught?
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's really
and
cool.
was it YouTube University, or was it going to like a Sur La Table, cooking class? Like how did that happen?
So because I worked with Lexus, and the same way Nike sponsors LeBron James, let's say Lexus would sponsor Masahiro Morimoto. I would, Thomas Keller, and I was the foodie guy. So I would be asked to work this event in Napa Valley, and I got to see all these guys, and I got to see all these incredible chefs, men and women. Like Christina Tosi was also sponsored by Lex. I got to see them real hand. I got to see the marrow of how they work, and yes, they're incredible at what they do. But I'm not trying to compete with them. Like you don't come to me for, El Bulli in Barcelona, RIP El Bulli. You don't come to me for that. I try to make things approachable. I try to make, if I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah, that's really cool. So do you, behind the scenes, not in front of the camera, but behind the scenes, do you cook with your wife, or are you the chef of your house?
Both, yeah. I'm a little bit more on it than my wife is, in the sense of she's like a multitasker. So she'll start making food and she'll be like, hey, can you turn the onions? And I will never do that. I'm like, if I start it, I finish it, So we're just very different in that way. And I can get really annoyed by that. I'm like, yo, then don't start.
Right.
Then I'll just cook the whole thing. Like,
Why can't you just be the sous chef?
just no. But like the little nuances like that. Yeah.
But I understand those nuances because it's
Yeah.
funny because a woman that I was dating, she's very much a foodie and very much in the kitchen. And she would be like, stay out of the kitchen. I'm like, but it's my kitchen. I was like, I finally had to get to a point where I'm like, look, and Karen and I have talked about this, cooking and dining and cooking with your partner is a very intimate moment. It's very close. It's very, and especially because of what you just said, that it's as the chef or the person whose domain that is, it is very intimate to allow somebody else come in and be your sous chef, or come in and be the person that helps you cook the meal. Yeah. Whereas most people who are in the kitchen are territorial. They're like, go sit on the couch until dinner's ready. Right. So it's definitely something that I think is
it's sexy. I mean, the last time I cooked with a guy in like 1952. Oh my God. It's so good. No, last time I cooked, I do remember doing something similar to your wife, but not quite. Like I was cooking, and then that was when I was doing your mac and cheese. So I had to like focus, right? And I was just like, hey, you're the medium rare guy. You get these steaks medium rare, sir. I'd already put them in the oven and seasoned them and all the things. And I had a thermometer. So I was like, work with that, So it's something about it to me that's just so, like you said, so intimate, so sexy. Like you're not going to do it just with anybody. Absolutely. But it's fun. And for me, and Ernest knows this, I'm like such a 9.5 weeks movie fan because of the cooking scene, because it was bad acting, but the cooking scene was so freaking.
Don't say that about Kim Basinger.
Well, I love her. I mean,
and Mickey Rourke. I mean,
she's in.
Which one are we talking about? The bad acting.
She's in the back of my head. Though. That movie was so great. So yeah, just because of the cooking scenes or just their interaction, but so sexy. So yeah, I just wanted to ask that question about wifey.
Well, we're going to continue talking sexy foods and sexy vibes with Eddie Zamora.
Did you say talking or talking? talkering.
I may have said talkering, but that's only because I'm
Let's
drinking.
make up words.
I was about to say, we're going to re-up
Let's
during the
make up
commercial break.
words.
You are listening to, watching,
my
vibing
God.
out to Food for Thought with Karen and Ernest.
When we come forward, more savory sounds from the culinary world. You're listening to Food for Thought with Karen and Ernest. Delectable recipes, dining do's and don'ts, fascinating culinary insights, celebrity chefs, delicious discussions. You're inside Food for Thought with Karen and Ernest.
You are listening to, watching, vibing out to Food for Thought with Karen and Ernest. And during the break, I got to re-up on my Bacardi 8, courtesy of our guest, Eddie Zamora. So thank you for this.
Good.
This is so good.
And the price point. Yes, please.
Yeah, under $30. You can't go wrong.
Definitely.
Run, tell that, everyone.
Run, tell that.
Please.
So, the first thing that I want to do is I want to be able to tell people how they can find you. I want to make sure that they know where they can get all the goodies that is Eddie Zamora. So tell people how they can find you. Instagram, Twitter. Website.
So I am the same across the board at the Yum Yum Foodie, across the board, and then at Kill the Bottle Podcast, my show, and I do another fun little show online called at the Foodie Minute. The Foodie Minute I do on that as well. So, but the Yum Yum Foodie across everything.
Since you've told people how they can find you, let me tell people how they can find us. Our handles on almost the best way to reach us is Food for Thought with KandE.com, which is our website, and from there it will push you to our YouTube, to our Spotify, to our IG.
All the things.
So www.foodforthoughtwithkande.com.
And as you watch and comment, please follow us if you haven't already.
Yeah, make sure that you give us a follow at all of those places. If you're one of those people that needs an email because you want a little bit more information about what we're talking about, our email address is foodforthought@foodforthoughtwithkande.com. So, Eddie, we've been talking with you about your food journey and your journey in general. And one thing that we haven't had a chance, and you mentioned it in your intro, is to talk about is your like I've told our guests before, my mom's from Jamaica, my dad's from Trinity, and the running joke with West Indians is we have 18 jobs. But you are somebody that has a bazillion jobs. You're the co-host of the Foodie Minute, and or is it the Foodie Minute?
I created the Foodie Minute, so it's just me.
Love.
The Foodie Minute is just me.
So tell everybody what the Foodie Minute is.
Yeah, the Foodie Minute is something that's inspired by segments like Seth Meyers' A Closer Look, that he does his little monologue, or like Talk Soup, if you ever watched that show back in the day on E. These or Tosh.0. It's more like a little sarcastic take on food, or I'll do a sarcastic take on the Oscars, but I'll usually kind of make it food related. I do segments called Origins, where like my next episode will be the origin of the daiquiri. I've done the origin of the mojito. I've done the origin of different brands, and it's just an opportunity for me to stay creative. Yeah. I do it all myself. I shoot it myself. I write it myself, and I try to keep it under 2 minutes. So it's called the Foodie Minute, but I can't get anything out in 1 minute.
Real daiquiri was, man, there'd be more daiquiri drinkers.
And you order a daiquiri, and they're like, "I'm sorry, we don't have a blender. Get the hell out that bar. Run."
Right.
One of my favorite places is Kanya.
Kanya Rum Bar right there, right by the, I don't know, it's a Staples Center to me. I forgot what it's called now.
I will always call it
Yeah.
the Staples Center.
And what I love about them is they're so gracious with their happy hour.
Yeah.
You can try so many things. You should probably Uber there.
Oh yeah. Spectacular rum collection. It's great. It's a great.
Good. And the bartenders are so generous. Here's a shot. Thank you, Easter Bunny. Like, it's so good. Okay. Plug.
And then you were telling us about your podcast, and it's called
Kill the Bottle.
Kill the Bottle.
That's
That
going to
is
be
so
my
on
new
brand.
jam. No, that's going to be my new jam. Please share with the audience.
And what is Kill the Bottle?
Yes.
Yeah, how is that different than the Foodie Minute?
So I was a guest on a podcast a few years ago, and the producer of that podcast, we kind of hit it off, really funny, and she said, "You need your own show." And I was like, "I don't know what the I'm doing. What do you mean? I mean, I could do a show, but I can't produce it. I don't know. I could talk. I could give topics. I can interview people. That I could do in my sleep. Yeah. But what's all the other aspects of it?" And she's like, "What if I produce it?" I'm like, "Oh shit, I can't get out of this one." And
you thought you were like, "Yeah, I don't know how to do that." And she's like, "I got you.
I got you.
I'll produce it.
There's an app for
about?
that." No, I'm kidding.
And then I said, "Okay, only if you co-host it with me.
Oh, that's dope.
And we did. And she's a comedian, and she knows how to cook, and we have so much fun banter, and I've been so blessed to get some incredible guests on that show, and had some fun, intriguing conversations. And it's called Kill the Bottle. I don't promote like overindulging, but we'll sometimes open a bottle of wine. Sometimes it'll be a history on a cocktail. Sometimes it'll just be like, yo, I found this new badass bourbon that not many people know about. Let's check that. I'll talk about that for a minute. And then now people have kind of gotten involved or really vested in our lives, my co-host and I. And I'm always talking about my father who's ill. She's always talking about her crazy dating life, and we do that over over a bottle. Yeah.
Now, you and I, Karen and I have been talking about rums.
Yeah.
But you are, as I remember, you're also a wine guy, right?
Yeah. That's how we met.
Yeah. Are you a red, white, or does it matter?
Does not matter. Does not matter. It's like it's a matter of what the mood is, what the temperature is, what I'm eating, what I'm not eating, where I'm at. Like I'm not gonna walk into Bordeaux and be like, "Can I get a Napa cab?" I'm not gonna be in Bordeaux asking for that shit. So it's just it's kind of just based, and also your palate changes. There's a period of time where I love Sangiovese, and which is the base grape of Chianti, Brunello de Montalcino, wines from Tuscany in general. That'll be the base grape. And for a period of time, it gave me really bad acid reflux. Yeah. And I remember I was at this event, and I got to drink a wine called Biondi Santi, which, if you like Brunello, it's like one of the top of the pyramid of that. It's like $300-something a bottle. I was like, shit, I don't care if it's going to make me sick. I'm going to try it. Right. Drank it. I didn't get sick. And I was like, oh, I can drink it again, because, your body's always changing every X amount of time. But right now, I'm probably drinking a lot more of Grenache, Carignan. I went to Priorat in just outside of Barcelona this summer, and that's where those wines are from. So, your palate, I'm like, fuck, I want to explore those wines a lot right now.
It's so interesting because, like, to your point about the acid reflux, I was having that issue a few years ago with Sauv Blancs. Not all, but some. And I was just like, let me just skip over to the Sancerre, because I don't have that with that, right? And so Ernest and I talk about both our wine journeys a lot, and it's like there's no rules anymore. It's like, what do you like? Yeah. Like, who cares what everybody else is drinking? What do you like? And how are you going to pair it? And what are you going to do? And how are you going to drink it? And so that's how he's been journeying. I've been journeying. We've been journeying a little bit together, and it's been lovely.
I envy people that could drink bad wine. I envy it. I can't.
Yeah, but
I envy it.
Something to be envious
Oh my! If you could buy a bottle for $6, that's not a Costco bottle or a Trader Joe's bottle, and it is the best thing in the world you've ever had, I envy you.
No, that's fair. Can I tell a quick story?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's funny that you mentioned your father as an accountant in a former life.
My brother's an accountant. My dad was forced to study accounting, and he was like, hell no.
But you were like, no. So in a former life, I was an accountant, and I used to work for Gap Inc., and I did all the depreciation for the buildings and equipment and stores. And literally one day, this is crazy, our office was so whack because it was in San Bruno, so South San Francisco. So on the other side of our office was a TGI Fridays. So one day we all go to drink. It's like maybe 6 of us. And the rule was like the highest ranking guy paid the bill. Well, what we didn't know was the highest ranking guy, his family had a vineyard. So at the time, no one knows this until now. I mean, they know I drank this. But at the time, I was drinking white Zinfandel. I didn't know any better. I was not a wine connoisseur. I was 20-something. So get there, and I have like a mudslide or some crazy blended drink. Something crazy, right? And so another girl orders the white Zinfandel, and this guy goes off, but in the most polite way. He's like, look, my family owns a vineyard. We don't drink that. It's made from the worst grapes, and you're paying for that yourself. And it was like, I'm so glad it wasn't me. But I learned something. So I
with ice in the pool. So do you drink that white Zinfandel with some ice?
I started telling people. I literally started telling people, don't drink that. That's why we've been getting a headache, whatever. Yeah. So even now, sometimes I chuckle to myself because when I try to order a good Zinfandel out, I'll be like, oh, and I know you see that I'm black, but I said Zinfandel, no white before it. You know what I mean? Because it's like that used to be our jam. Like I'm generalizing, but you know what I mean. So yeah.
Well, we could do this all day.
We could and kill the bottle.
And kill the bottle.
We're not.
And Eddie, now that you have been here with us, I'm going to tell you, you have an open invitation to be back because we are just hitting the tip of the ice cube and the tip of.
I'm like a vampire. You gotta invite me in the door. So
I am on record telling you that you are being invited back in the door. So you come on in.
Yeah.
And
shout out to Kevin, our mutual friend, who introduced me to you, and now introduced to Ernest. And yes, what he said.
What I said.
What you said.
So, we could do this all day. And like I said, we are just hitting the tip of the ice cube in our drinks. Well, we had these neat, but you are more than welcome to be back, and we want to have you back. So, Karen and I say this all the time. We're often amazed how quickly time goes by.
Yep.
And this is just evidence of that as well. So, but thank you for being here.
You.
We love having you.
You were awesome.
Okay, Lou, all we got to do is say one more thing.
Bye.